Children, today is one of the most auspicious days as our Honorable Prime Minister has done Bhumi Pujan at Ayodhya for the construction of Sri Ram Mandir. So there is always a conflict between the science and spirituality. But children, as you will grow older, you will also find that science is not only compatible with spirituality, but it is profound source of spirituality also. Because spirituality gives us more blessings and less stressed life, more smiling, less worrying, and more love, less hate. So it naturally purifies our soul, and that's why we should always try to head towards the path of spiritualism. You can see very clearly that the exercise solution of the coal and petroleum will be the topic for the discussion in my today's lecture program, and this is on your demand only, because many students were sending me text that ma'am, please discuss the chapters exercise so that we can start solving it. So on your demand, and it was my desire also that I give you the right solution and we will have a good fruitful discussion over it. So what do you see in the question number 1, that what are the advantages of using CNG and LPG as fuel? So children, somewhere today I have tried to give you the solution of the answers also, because when I have done the correction of your exercises in my Google class, I have seen that some of the answers are not written in a right way, the way it has to be given. The regions were not more accurate. So just to make them errorless and to make your concept more better, I have tried to give the solution also in some of the question, not in all, but in some of the question. So the point wise answer is the best way to give in science when we are trying to solve any question. So here I will like to give 4 points related to the advantages. First is that CNG and LPG bonds easily because they are the gaseous fuel, and I have already given you concept of the gaseous fuel, that why they bond easily, because they are loosely bonded and their each particle gets a high air presence around them, and that's why they burn without leaving any residue and smoke. Then they give a lot of heat energy. When the bonding will be complete, naturally the heat energy will be high. Then they can be transported easily. Being gaseous fuel also, they can be transported very safely through the pipelines if we take the right safety measures. And then they are clean fuels. Why? Because they burn completely. That is why they are clean fuel. They do not produce any smoke and ash, etc. when burned. So they do not give any pollutant. Now just look at the next question, question number 2. Name the petroleum product used for surfacing of roads. Children, you have good idea, so I am not going to tell you. You will write it yourself. Now question number 3. Describe how coal is formed from dead vegetation and what is this process called. So children, while explaining the topic coal, I maximum of the time I have given on how the coal formation is done. I have given you the good concept about the processes which are called petrification and coalification. So I have given you option that you can write it from the notes also that has been provided to you about the formation of coal. Otherwise I have given a very precise and short answer and perfect answer here, because the dense forest got buried under the soil due to natural processes like earthquake. What are the natural processes? Earthquakes, etc. millions of years ago. We are always saying that it is a very lengthy period of time which is beyond our imagination. More and more soils get deposited over them and they get compressed more. This lead to them to get exposed to a very high temperature and pressure, because the sunlight continuously fall over the soil, and then sunlight becomes warmer when it goes inside the soil because it gets trapped there, and slowly they get converted into coal under the extreme condition. And the whole process of formation of coal under this condition from dead vegetation is known as what? Carbonization. So this will be the right answer. If you want, then you can write, and I am not making it strict that you write this only. You can use your own scientific skill also. In an objective format of the question, which is fill in the blanks. You have to fill correct words in the sentences which have blanks everywhere. So fossil fuels are this, this and this. You know it very well. You can write it without much thinking. Then the process of separation of different constituents from petroleum is called what, children? Refining of the petroleum is what? Fractional distillation. That you will write. The least polluting fuel for a vehicle is, I think it should be what? CNG and nothing else, because it is a gaseous fuel, so it will do least pollution. Now come to the next question, where you have to tick true or false against the following statement. The statements are like this: fossil fuels can be made in the laboratory. So is it true or false? Decide. CNG is more polluting fuel than petrol. It is totally false from the statement, only it is looking a stupid type of a statement. Coke is the almost pure form of carbon. Yes, it is true. Coal tar is a mixture of various substances. Yes, this is also true. I have told you many times in the chapter synthetic fibers and plastic also, that it is a mixture of more than 200 types of organic compounds, and these all organic compounds are highly useful in making our day-to-day life goods. Then kerosene is not a fossil fuel. Is it not a fossil fuel? It is. In the next question, it has been asked that explain why fossil fuels are exhaustible natural resources. Children, we have already discussed in my very first video lecture in this chapter. I told you what are the differences between exhaustible and inexhaustible natural resources. So exhaustible means what? Which gets exhausted, which cannot be brought back easily, or sometimes can never be. Like I have told you that the exhaustibles can be renewable and non-renewable, two types. So the fossil fuels are non-renewable exhaustible resources, because they take around millions, more than 200-300 million years in their formation, and that is why they are what? Exhaustible natural resources. Once we use them, we have used them it for the lifetime, because that is not coming back in our lifetime or in the future generations lifetime as well. So they get exhausted, means they get over slowly as they are used up continuously. So we should try to use them with our very conscious sustainable way. You will write it, and if you are writing it in a paragraph format also, it will be not bad, it will be right. In question number 7, describe the characteristics and uses of coke. So characteristics and uses of coke. Coke is what? It is the refined coal which has been refined by the process of destructive distillation. So I have given you the characteristic here. Coke is what? It is tough, means hard. Coke is porous, because all the impurities are evaporated from the coke in the form of gaseous or the oily substances. Oily is your coal tar and the gas is your coal gas. So it becomes porous because they escape from the pores of the coal, and then the finally coke becomes porous. Now coke is black in color because the carbon's color itself is black. Then it is manufactured uses. I am coming on the uses. It is manufactured in steel industry. It is in the manufacture of steel, because in steel, when the iron is converted into steel, it is an alloy of steel. I have told you the concept of alloy. I have given you in the chapter metals and non-metal, that they are not just a single metal, but they are a mixture of some metals and non-metal. So in steel, which is also an alloy, carbon is a non-metal which is used. So it is a coke which is used in manufacture of steel. Then in the extraction of metals as a reducing agent, that you will study in class 10, that how the metals are extracted from their ores, and the carbon in the form of coke is used there. And then naturally the most prime use of the coke is what? In the electric power generation in thermal power plants, children. Question number 8 is also a very general question, where it has been asked that what is the process of formation of petroleum, children. It has been explained very well in your regular classes, that zooplankton and algae are the bacteria which decay the organic matter and they convert them into petroleum. So here also I have tried to give you the answer to make it without any error and without any flaws. So dead organisms that got buried in the sea, I have already told you that the most of the petroleum mines are found inside the oceans and inside the sedimentary rocks, because the animals get buried inside the rocks. So dead organism here is what? The aquatic animals. They get buried in the sea millions of years ago and got covered with layers of sand and clay. Due to air, high temperature and high pressure, these dead organisms got transformed into petroleum and natural gas. This is a very short answer. You can make it more elaborate. It depends upon you, because the matter related to the answer of this question already has been provided in the form of notes. Now in the last question, this is actually a surveying kind of question, where you have to draw a bar graph. So the table is given here, that the table shows that what was the power shortage in India in the time period of around 7 years, 1993 to 1999, and then you have to show the data in the form of graph. So you have to plot the graph, and you will just take it has been provided as a hint that y-axis is what? Which is perpendicular on x-axis. So y-axis will be taken as the shortage percentage and the x-axis will be taken as the year. So you know how to draw the bar graph, and the same process will be followed here, and you will draw it. I will say that you will attach a graph paper only. You can do it in the general ruled copy also, but if you are doing it on the graph paper, it will be more errorless. So this was the exercise of the chapter coal and petroleum. Solve it, and solve with accuracy, I will say, because this time I have provided you more hints than the previous exercises. So I am also expecting that you will not make much mistakes, and if you are making mistakes, that's very normal thing. We will here to do the correction work. So send it. That matters a lot.